He weighs about, 1,200 pounds, and he can pull me all over the place, but he's not going to do that. He knows what the routine is. He feels very comfortable, very, very secure, so he's just going to hang out with me right over here. And he actually is really exceptional. When he was 2 years old, we had to take him to do a job in LA where he's supposed to stand still for 2 hours for a photo shoot outdoors. And not only that, but when we got there, it turned out he had to stand next to an elephant. And he just went right up to the elephant, went, okay, no problem, just stood squarely right there. Now, one of the reasons that he did that is because camels don't have predators in the wild. Horses do. So when a horse sees something new, he'll think, oh, this might kill me, I'm going to have to spook, I'm going to have to get scared. Camels don't think about anything killing them. So when he sees an elephant, he goes, okay, that's fine. It's not going to scare him like it would scare anything else. But he stood there for 2 hours like a champ, and when the elephant left at the end of the evening, then he threw a temper tantrum, because he wanted to go after the elephant. And the temper tantrum with the camel is all legs are up in the air, and the neck and head just go up and down like that. It just looks really funny, especially when they're young. Right now, if you're on the back, it's not that funny. Like that. So anything, he was a really good boy. It was kind of funny. It was an open bar event. So by 10 o'clock, people were drinking a little bit too much, and there was one woman that came up to him and she wanted to French kiss him. I don't know why. He didn't know why. And there was a rope in between us, and he just stood there, and every time she kind of get really close to him, all he did was move his head back, and then move his head sideways, and then and after 5 minutes of that, she left. It was just too much. But his legs didn't leave the ground. He just thought, I'm not moving, I'm just gonna do this. Come over here, that's a good boy. Now watch him when he moves around. I'll talk a little bit about why these guys are so good in the desert. Do you see how his feet kind of spread out? He has soft gelatinous pads on the bottom of his feet. So when he walks in the desert, it's kind of like snowshoes. They expand and they can carry his whole weight without sinking into the sand. If a horse walks in the sand, he sinks in about a foot. So these guys are really easy in the sand. They can go 2 weeks without drinking any water whatsoever. They can lose 20% of their body weight, just a bathtub full of water, drink it in 10 minutes and keep going. And they don't even stress from this. Now a mother, he sees that I have a little grain over here and that's what he wants to get. No, I'm just talking right now, so let's be patient and just hang out there. No, Samson. Like a little baby camel, he never grew up. No, leave my head alone. So in the desert, he does really good. What are you doing? You eating my microphone now? Don't eat my microphone. I was going to grab my hat again. But he is sweet. I'll give him a little bit of treats. We worked at it. We were at the Orange County Fair last year, and I'm going to put my hat backwards so you won't touch it. And we just had time between the shows, so it's kind of like a dog. You just kind of give him treats and you work with them, and he turns out to like to play with you and hang out with you. But he's a really good. Samson, he says I'm going to go straight to the grain, and that's what I'm going to do.
Sure. Cover the grain with your shoes.
There you go. There you go. Just like that.
Yeah, now you won't get it.
There's nothing. And I'm not afraid of him biting me. He's a really good boy. He's not going to bite me. I can see his shadow over there in the sun. But he just is a pleasure to work with him. Now you're going to eat my hat too, huh? That's a good boy. Okay, we'll be done with that. No, there's no more hat over there. Don't pull off my hair. That's a good boy. But you can see it's really fun to play with these guys. They're sweet, they're lovable. If they trust you, they're great. Now, bull camels, the ones that are not castrated and their fathers are all the babies over here, they're dangerous. They have canines that are about this long. And they're dangerous, actually, to be around in the winter. They forget who they are and they try to kill people, and people die all over the world every year from bull camels. Another thing bull camels do is urinate backwards on their tail, and then they spray it over their body. I know. First time we were training a camel, Nancy and I thought it was raining. I was like, it's blue sky, it's not raining. And he was just spraying his cologne all over the place, which female camels love, I know. People, we don't love it that much, but female camels love it. They also salivate all over the place. I had a bull camel, I was training him for riding a long time ago, and you can see where we were walking because there's puddles of saliva everywhere along the way. And then they have this muskiness that comes from glands behind the ears, and that also kind of drools down and they rub it on everything. So this guy was fixed, kind of like fixing a dog. He's looking at the tree. He's like, I think I can get to that one. I don't think he can reach it, but he's trying. Look at his upper lips when he does try to get to the tree. Look how he can reach. Now this is the reason why in the desert they can reach food that other animals can't get to. And he can use his upper lips. They're kind of like tweezers. They're prehensile. You can grab branches with it and pull it down and eat it. These are one of the only animals that can actually eat trees and live on it. They do really good with that special saliva in their mouth that actually breaks down the branches and cellulite. Here, go ahead.
Cellulite.
Cellulose.
Oh, I was gonna say. If it
If
breaks
it was
down-
cellulite,
yeah,
that'd be...
I'd be having them kissing my thighs all the time. They just see me
good.
perk up. I'm like, oh, we're like, what, cellulite? That'd be nice.
Let's get him his grain. We'll bring his grain right over here. The hump is full of fat, and when we ride with these guys, and you'll see, we either sit in front of the hump or behind the hump. The Tuareg and Mali have really nice saddles, and they sit right over here, and they put their legs on the neck of the camel. And in Australia, they actually will sit in a double saddle behind the hump or in front of the hump. Now also when you look at the camel, you can see he has these big pads over here. It looks like sores. A lot of people say, why do your camels have all these big sores right over here? There's 2 on the knees, 2 on the elbows, and a big chest pad right over here. But when a camel wants to lay down and sleep in the desert where the sand's very hot, and there's rocks and there's thorns everywhere, he's going to cut his skin. He has very delicate skin, so he develops these big calluses. When a camel lays down, all his weight, all 14 or 1,500 pounds, is on these 5 places right here. And when they're born, they don't have calluses right here. They actually have fur. And the first baby camel that we were bottle feeding, after 2 weeks, we went over to his knee over here, and they peeled off. Just the skin and everything peeled off, and the callus was underneath it. And we thought he was sick. We were putting Neosporin on it and washing it every day. But it just comes right off, and then the pads underneath it. And the more they use it, the bigger the callus gets. So let's say they're out down near Indio, and there's a lot of rocks in the sands. After being there for a few months, these calluses will get even bigger than they are. And they'll get more of them over here, like more on the knee and more over here on their elbows. Do you have any questions we can answer right now? You have your hand up.
Why don't you put the saddle on the hump?
Why don't you put a saddle on the hump? That's a great question. Well, the hump is made out of fat. So let's say you were doing rides and you had everybody sit on the hump for the whole year. What would happen to the hump? It would change shape. It would kind of swoosh down a little bit. So the saddle will go, like in the pyramids, you ride the camels over there, the saddle is over the hump. It actually sits right over here over the hump and doesn't press on it. Also, if you press on it for too long because it isn't the side of the body, it would be uncomfortable for the camel. Now, a camel that has no hump would be a really, really skinny camel. We got one like that. We got Goldie about 10 years ago. She's a blonde one right in the center, pens over there, so when you're feeding pomegranates, you'll see her. She had no hump. She looked like a greyhound horse, greyhound dog. She had a straight back, and the stomach pulled all the way in, and within 2 months of working with our vets and vets overseas, she gained 150 pounds. And you could feel the hump come in every day. You touch the top of her back, which first went across, and then there was more and more hump every day, and it was so neat to work with that camel.
I have
Any
a
other
question.
questions? Yes.
Now, can we see him?
Cush?
Can we lay? And my question is, because I know we've got a lot of folks right there. Is that soft enough right there, just in that spot, where it's less?
Yeah.
I mean, he could lay down. He could
lay down over
really
here.
lay down in the gravel too, right?
Yeah.
He could. We're just babies.
Do you want to try doing this over here on this thing?
If you want.
Let's try this. Let's just open it up a little bit and see it. We usually have them lay down over there. Now they can lay down on rocks and different substrate, and it's no problem. Maybe that won't work. Let me see. So part of the training with camels, can you give me another bucket of grain? Yeah. And you'll just see kind of how he trained. He's going to say, no, I don't want to walk on this thing.
We scared him.
And he might not want to do this
Plus,
today.
it's back really close to the sound. We should.
And that's okay.
Gil,
Give
why
one
don't you
second.
pull
I just want to see.
Okay, I could
over
put
here.
that further for you.
1 second. There you go. So I'm just going to bring closer. And today, see, he just put his foot on there, which is really nice. So this is kind of like the secret of training camels. You know, you have a little bit of grain, you have all the time in the world, and you take your time. And if something like that happened, then you already won a little bit, which is great. You don't pull on them, and you don't shout, and you don't make them do things, but you just say, oh, you want some more grain? I'm just going to move over here, and you can kind of put a foot over there, and that's okay. Now you put a second foot over there. Now maybe today he won't lay down on this, but already he put his feet on this, is great. Now last year, a year before that, he wouldn't do that because he was such a young camel, and they're a little bit more fearful. And this really shows that Samson has kind of really matured with us. And I'm just going to come over here, and he'll come off a bit. And there we go, right over here. That's a good boy. He really doesn't care about it so terribly much. That's a good boy, right over here.
Further away from the speakers, though.
I don't know if I'll have him push on this, but I'll just have him do this. Now he used to be really scared of the speakers, but he's matured. You know, and now the closer they come to 6 years old, the more relaxed they are. It's kind of like a switch. He's about 5.5 years old. But this you couldn't do with him a year ago. He would never do this. He didn't like the speakers. He didn't like, he wouldn't want to stand on this. That's a good boy, just like that. That's a good boy. Do you want to try and cush? What you are? What? Do you want to cush? Cush, go ahead. You're okay. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. Cush. Go ahead.
These will be great. There's a good picture.
Cush, that's a good boy. Cush, all the way. Cush, all the way. All the way.
He's got his knees on it.
Ah, there you go. I got scared because I jumped up.
Good
That's
boy,
okay. That's okay. Nice looking around like, why? What did you do?
Here, Gil, put him there and I'm going to hook this out for you.
Okay, come here.
That was good.
Come here. Yeah, he did really good. That's a good boy.
He's like, don't touch it, Nancy, it'll kill you.
But an older camel wouldn't care about that at all. So, and then when something like this happens, it doesn't ruin your camel. You know, your camel thinks about that, he grows from it, and then later on he'll be a lot finer. And she'll just put out the way. We'll see if we can just cush him. I'm going to cush him over here in the dirt area. So if we can have everybody over here kind of move over to each side. There you go. And I'll just bring him over there. That's a good boy. Come over here. Here, I know. No, you're a good boy. Good boy. And everybody, there you go. Stay back a little bit.